Coming up, a Beltrami County deputy was injured in a crash last night in Bemidji. And Hurricane Ida finally made landfall this afternoon in Louisiana. Plus, some small businesses are continuing to make a comeback as local events provide more opportunities. Valley News Live at 10 is straight ahead.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tonight, a Beltrami County deputy is recovering from his injuries sustained in a crash with another vehicle in Bemidji. Around 11:30 last night, a SUV was heading south on Highway 71 near Paul Bunyan Drive when the Beltrami County deputy squad car entered the intersection and collided with the SUV. Law enforcement say the deputy was responding to an emergency call at the time of the accident. The driver of the SUV was unharmed in the accident at the time, but the deputy suffered non-life-threatening injuries. One person has died and another was seriously injured in an off-road vehicle accident last night in Rolette County near Dunseith. The accident happened around 6:15 p.m. A 21-year-old woman was driving with a 23-year-old female passenger. The pair was traveling north on 28th Avenue when the driver lost control. The vehicle then overturned, causing both women to be ejected. The driver died on the scene while the passenger suffered severe injuries. Meanwhile, a boil water advisory has taken effect for the city of Barnesville after a lightning strike caused an outage in the city's water system. The city officials say the lightning strike happened just before 10 last night. High service pumps had shut down, causing a loss of water pressure for the city. As a result, officials say the water system is more susceptible to contaminants. Residents are asked to not drink, brush teeth, or cook with tap water without boiling it first. A safe alternative would be to use bottled water. Cases of free bottled water will be available at City Hall at 102 Front Street North starting tomorrow morning at 7:30. Cleanup is underway at a church in Duluth, Minnesota after a devastating lightning strike. Yesterday's storms moved through the city, bringing heavy rains and lightning. Fire officials say a strike hit the top of the church, causing severe damage to its steeple. Damages are estimated at around $185,000. Hurricane Ida is thrashing Louisiana. The system made landfall as a major Category 4 storm along the southeast coast of the state this afternoon. And all of this is happening 16 years to the day after the tragedy of Hurricane Katrina.
The Big Easy, uneasy as Ida moves in.
It's going to be on top of you in no time at all. So get to your safe place.
At landfall, sustained winds of 150 miles an hour with driving rains. There's already flooding in the strike zone, and the intense conditions are expected to continue for another 12 hours or more. Some areas could get as much as 3 feet of rain before it's all over. New Orleans, below sea level, can't handle all of that water.
We live in a bowl, so our topography is that, every bit of rainwater that falls in here, we have to pump out.
That job falls to these massive pump engines inside stations that surround the area. Teams confident the levees will hold and the enhanced mitigation system will move the water from canals into Lake Pontchartrain and the Mississippi River.
We have upgraded the system. We have redundancy to the redundancy systems now that we didn't have a whole lot of before Katrina.
The cruel irony that Ida comes 16 years to the day Katrina made landfall, not lost on those inside the Jefferson Parish Emergency Command Center.
We're people from Louisiana. We try to always have the lightness in even the worst situations. And, it's Katrina's throwing a 16-year birthday party for her daughter, Ida.
But in an area so used to celebrations, this is no party. Jay Gray, NBC News, New Orleans.
Colonial Pipeline is closing off 2 fuel lines in the south due to Hurricane Ida. The company said it was shutting down fuel lines between Houston, Texas and Greensboro, North Carolina today. Colonial officials called the temporary move a precautionary and routine safety measure. It expects the pipeline to get back to full service after the storm. The 5,500-mile pipeline provides nearly half of the East Coast's gasoline and diesel. Island Park in downtown Fargo was full of music, food, and celebrations as the area played host for the yearly showcase. This was another opportunity for some small businesses to rebuild after last summer was impacted by COVID-19. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling brings us the story.
On a sunny Sunday afternoon, hundreds of people packed the area of Island Park for the weekend showcase. Many vendors lined the walkways, finally getting a chance to get back out in the public after last summer was impacted by COVID-19.
Just nice to be in such a fun environment where people can go out and see all the different vendors and try different things.
This show is really important to us. We've been doing it for probably about 10 years now, and after last year not being able to participate in shows like this, it's nice to see the turnout that they've gotten to have today.
For vendors, these events mean a lot to them, and the air was thick with music, food, and people enjoying the weather outside.
I like these outdoor events because people aren't so worried about the masks, and you do get to see the faces and the people, and it just feels a little bit more normal again, and that's, I think, what we're all hoping that we're going to get to soon, so yeah.
Michelle started her business, Windsor Waffles, in 2019 and has seen the difference between this year and last, and what it means to have people out and about again.
The biggest thing, so last year a lot of events were modified. People were kind of scared to go out to events like this, so there's a lot of like drive-through festivals and things like that. This is the first year where we really got to see people come out and I kind of get a sense that people are feeling a little bit more comfortable to get out in public, so it's been a huge difference and we've been loving it.
In Island Park, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Some vendors pointed out that the weather was way better today compared to yesterday. And tomorrow, students and community activists are planning to protest against NDSU's mask mandate. University officials announced almost 2 weeks ago that students and staff, teachers would be required to wear masks while indoors for the semester. Since then, some students have started a petition speaking out against the face covering policy. The anti-mask mandate protest is scheduled for tomorrow at 5 p.m. The group plans to meet at the Memorial Union and then march through campus. Dr. Anthony Fauci continues to warn against people taking the anti-parasitic drug to treat or prevent getting infected with COVID-19.
Don't do it. There's no evidence whatsoever that that works, and it could potentially have toxicity, as you've just mentioned, with people who have gone to poison control centers because they've taken the drug at a ridiculous dose and wind up getting sick. There's no clinical evidence that indicates that this works.
The drug is usually used on livestock and horses. Health officials say if taken in large doses, it could be very dangerous to humans. And meanwhile, a rocket struck a neighborhood just northwest of Kabul's International Airport today, killing a child. Video during the aftermath of the attack showed smoke rising from a building at the site just over a half-mile away from the airport. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the attack. However, militants have fired rockets in the past. Taliban fighters stepped up their presence at Kabul's International Airport yesterday as the U.S. warned there was a high risk of further blasts. Armed Taliban fighters were seen guarding the entrances and manning checkpoints, preventing locals from coming near the airport. Gunfire was also heard at the airport and tear gas was seen rising from the area. Later on Valley News Live at 10. President Biden and the First Lady welcome home the 13 U.S. service members killed in Afghanistan. But up next, there was lots of sunshine today, but could there be more rain this week? Nathan is in with a look at the forecast.